It's just incredible. So then a man comes in and says, men, we need you. Proceeds to talk instead of stepping down for a man to leave. These girl bosses are stuck. These girl bosses suck up all the funds and oxygen that qualified men could be using to make a public stand. Then what does she do? She gaslights more. No one is stopping you or anyone else from speaking or leading. I know many of you imagine that if I stopped speaking, suddenly you'd have a bigger platform. That's a fantasy. That's not how it works. If you have something to say that people want or need to hear and have the ability to convey it well, you will have an audience no matter how many other commentators are out there. If you don't, you won't. So this is, again, she thinks that she's really special and awesome, and that's why she has this platform, that she's really good at what she does. It's just not true. Women, we have an easier time on social media. So we just kind of get platforms for not doing very much. And then the problem is we get this big ego like she's getting where she thinks she's really smart, but she's not that smart. And it's really apparent to everybody. You know, it's not like she's this awesome, entertaining personality. She doesn't. She's okay, but it's really just pretty blonde girl says conservative talking points. It's kind of, she's kind of like a clone of Tommy Lauren, Brett Cooper. They're all kind of the same, right? Turning Point asked me to speak. Charlie asked me to speak, as they have many times over the years. So many of y'all hate who Charlie championed and champion who Charlie hated. Yeah, Allie, but here's the thing. Charlie was a simp. He was a good man, but he was a simp. So, just because he championed you, it doesn't really mean much to me, if I'm being honest. Here's another guy coming at Allie. And again, she could go back and say, you know what, guys? Let me think about what you guys said. She just can't help herself. She will find a way to preach to men. She's a feminist in the conservative garb. Men counsel men, period. Men preach to men, period. Me at a campus event. Men, you are necessary. We need your strength. We need you to be strong leaders and solid pastors. You are better than porn. Unhinged critics. This is feminism. Women just cannot read the room. She can't. At LSU, I explained 5 of the most controversial truths Charlie taught. Feminism has failed women. So it's not women being whores. It's feminism failing women. Remember, none of the accountability is on women. Porn has weakened men. Remember, again, even though women consume more porn, if we include romance novels, than men, it's still the men are watching the porn. Merit trumps DEI. America is a Christian nation. Jesus is the only way to heaven. Then you get Liz Wheeler. Kind of like an Allie Beth Stuckey clone, if I'm being honest. The women and the simps will always run cover for this stuff. It's weird. And this is why men walk away. They just see it's a clown show. Every religion has this. And I'm really tired of people selling their religion as not having this. Catholics, I grew up around you guys. You have it. Orthodox, I know people in the Orthodox faith. You guys have these same problems. Oh, but it's to a lesser degree, not by much. Really, not by much. It's weird to falsely accuse Allie Beth Stuckey of being a feminist. Allie is obedient to Jesus, submits to the headship of her husband in their happy marriage, and strictly limits her working hours to be present to her children whom she adores. She elevates masculinity and celebrates femininity. Contrast that with feminists who hate men, hate women, hate marriage, hate God, hate children, are promiscuous and money-seeking, unstable, refuse to tend their homes and outsource their child care to strangers they pay. Okay, when she's traveling, who's watching these kids? Husbands or your husband, your wife? This absurd claim comes from a pastor that women shouldn't speak publicly, certainly contradicts the Bible. Should Mary Magdalene not have proclaimed Jesus' resurrection to the apostles? Should she have stepped aside so a man could do it? Sometimes it seems these so-called pastors are triggered not by actual Allie, but by the truth she's speaking. So again, women will always find a way to manipulate the Bible to do whatever they want, whatever's convenient. Here's another woman. The comments show you that when you speak against porn, the golden calf men get angry. Be easy on them. They've bonded with it as they should have bonded with a wife. They hate anything that gives men power. Porn gives men power to some degree because when the wife's nagging them, they can just say, I'm going to rub one out, you stupid bitch. Mal, you're just simping too much. I'm banning you from the chat. You're in a timeout right now. You're just simping. I can't take this simping. Why don't you go defend a woman who will sleep with you? Please God. And then we got Lila Rose, who's another one. This is a false representation of Allie's speech. The majority of her messaging is woman specific, cheering you on. And you guys are the same people that had Nala Ray on all your podcasts. So she crashes out for like 2 days straight saying how she wasn't wrong. Oh, $5 super chat. You're very attracted. Not hitting, but wow. Stop hitting on. Stop. Yes, that is hitting on me. That is hitting on me. That is. I mean, stop it. One, I'm a mid. I know I'm a mid. I'm not that attractive. I'm like an ugly post-wall woman. Okay. So, so stop it. You know what I mean? It's just like, please, you're giving me money for what? For what? Go, that should have been used to buy a girl a drink at the bar. That at least, I'm an 8 now. So you need to go see hotter women because I'm certainly not an 8. I'm certainly not. Oh my God. Oh, I'm better than mid. Yeah. Well then why do I have to work? I'm a 6. Yeah, that's generous. Generous. Okay. It was a woman you gave me energy on this app today. If you want to lead. If you want to speak up, speak up. If you are worth following and listening to, people will. If you're not, they won't. Again, they get this big ego. I know I'm here pretty much because I'm a woman. And somebody's got to come at these other women because they get way too big of egos. I got to tell them that they're mid. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to nag these other women. But I just like to say I'm not that special. I'm entertaining to some degree for a woman, but it's still for a woman. I'm not the smartest. I could be better in a lot of ways. But I don't really have an ego like that. I really don't. I've never had a huge ego. But it's just very obvious that none of these women have soft, teachable spirits. I'm not even saying I do. But we gotta, this whole argument of, if you're really good at your job, people will follow you if you're really smart. That's just not true. Rollo Tomasi is smarter than me in every way. Ryan Stone, those guys, Nuke. I mean, they're all smarter than me. They know the material better. I have more followers. I kind of have a more commercial look than them because I have a more trustworthy face. I was really described this actually. My face apparently is very high in the trustworthiness because I'm not too hot, and that's good for conservative media. I actually not my man. He's not actually my manager. Rollo Tomasio always spreads this lie about me that I have a manager. I don't. But I was actually told he thought I would be famous because I had the right look. Because he compared me to another chick and he said she's too hot to be that famous in the conservative sphere. And she was pretty hot. She was much hotter than me. She was. And that's the problem. All these women get these huge egos. Though to be honest, my boyfriend says I have a big ego sometimes. So maybe maybe I do, Sometimes he's like And I think it's because he knows this material so much better. It's not really fair that my following's bigger than his. It's not really fair. Um, because it's kind of like, why do men follow me? I haven't even ever taken a woman on a date. Pearl's a 4 at best. Thank you. That's really, I think, where I stand. Rolo isn't at all that smart. Pearl will call it simping, but she's smarter than Rolo when it comes to religion and politics. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not smarter than him. But I'll tell you what it is. He is stupid when it comes to certain things. Like I remember when there was a few years ago through the grapevine, I knew about, he got like set up by Brittany Venti because they sent him like fake abortion documents. I think he got real ones too. I don't know. But it was basically some nurse came to him and gave him like Lauren Southern's abortion documents allegedly. And I remember telling our mutual friend that was a setup. There's no way someone would violate HIPAA. No way. Some random streamer, no way. And then he went on stream and showed the like fake email that Brittany Venti, and he ended up looking kind of dumb. Now I think she really did abort Destiny's baby to some degree, but he's like kind of dumb but like smart. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that, yeah, that would get you in serious trouble with HIPAA. Yeah, and he's got to stop talking about how he should be more famous. He probably should be. But it's, really, you're just not, you just don't have that like it factor. You're not that like, and I'm a big fan of him, but you're not the, I don't know how to put it. You're just not that likable. like I just can't, if I showed your stream to like intelligent men that I know, like the richest ones, and they would look at you and and you talk for 20 minutes about how you should be more famous, they're just going to think you're an idiot anyways. You should talk about Nick F and how he thinks he is special when it comes to women. No, Nick's going to have the same problems. Again, Nick can't really talk about it because I don't think he's ever really taken women on a date or like that, So again, he's still a guy commenting on dating instead of like the dating. Nothing short of a Christian Taliban who can lead to any meaningful change. Any Christian women not calling for this are either controlled opposition, limited hangout, or self-serving. I know. I love Rolo. I really do, but I just, how do I put this? I know he's just got to, I hope he gets his, Nick will get Steven Crowder treatment. Yeah, he will. I thought about something that women are better at than men. Queef. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I hope Rolo one day gets over his obsession with me. And I'm not one to say that lightly, but he's done a lot of streams on me. And Rolo, I really only offered you my friendship. I understand you were upset with the Nick. I put him on a stream with Nick F because I asked him if I could bring other YouTubers on. He said, yeah, and Nick F's a YouTuber. Now, he saw it as a setup, and I didn't really understand why he saw it that way because I really did defend Rolo. I really did on this stream that we all did together. And it's been years, and he just has not let it go. I'm like, Rolo, you gotta move on. We didn't even date, We didn't even you'd think we hooked up or something with the way that you just spurg at me. You gotta get over it, my guy. I get it. I'm an attractive woman. Mid, but attractive, for America. And But you got to let it go. You got to move on. I beg you. Now, another thing that you get from these conservatives is they always think they're changing the world because they get Instagram messages. Um, Now, I don't really think, because Allie Beth Stuckey, she's going to say, you're a feminist making a speech. How dare you say porn is bad? Instagram, thank you for changing my mind about hormonal birth control. Here's a sonogram picture of our new baby. Now, people, again, YouTubers get these big heads. And they get these big heads because they think everybody that messages them, like they take credit for all the changes. Like if I've had a lot of people message me and say, oh, you were responsible for me losing weight for my husband, or you were responsible for this, this, or this. The only person I'll take credit for being responsible for their weight loss or any change in their life is my little sister. She was a blue-haired fat feminist, and I did fix her. I did. I spent a lot of time with her, and I did. That's the only one I'll take credit for, because I think people seek the information they want. My sister, I did shove it down her throat. I did. And I always want better for my sister than some of the fuck ups I've done in life. I really try to warn her and give her better information. And that I did shove down her throat. I really, in my heart of hearts, I shoved it down her throat. I really did. I did. And, but everybody else, you found the information you wanted. So if you found me, you wanted conservative channels. It was on you. You're a solid 6 for me with the red hair. I agree that Rollo is very informed and educated. He's great, but he needs to cool out a bit. I know. I need you to. And you know what's crazy? I tell everybody to buy his book. If he was smarter, like, you know what I mean? He's just a little bit emotional. It's like, if you were smarter, I actually would have worked with you and funneled people towards your book. You could have used me for marketing. Oh, and like, do you know what's so crazy? I wanted him to mentor me but I could give you a list. I'm going to list out. I traveled across the country. I paid all this money to go interview him a few years ago. He canceled on me a few days before and said he had COVID. And then within a week, he was filming with someone else. Forgive me if I'm a little hesitant and I don't think he had COVID. And then he's like, Pearl's a hater. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really believe that you had COVID. I don't. I'm sorry. And like, I remember his dog died and I sent him money for the surgery for his dog. He sent it back. I was like, all right. I raised like 15 grand for his friend who was dying. And he refused to show up to the fundraiser and even see his dying friend. I mean, I don't. And then he's like, Pearl's a terrible person. I'm like, and I don't do it for the recognition, but I didn't get anything out of raising money for your friend. Your friend was just really nice to me before he died. 15 grand I raised. And by the way, I haven't even raised enough money for my divorce documentary. By the way, that was while I was demonetized. I was hurting for money. It wasn't like but he's just had this fixation on me for years. Rollo published books before it was cool 20 years ago, and he's salty. I get it. I understand it. I really do understand it. I understand that, like, I understand it, but I'm like, Rollo, if you were a little bit, if I were you, I would have just worked with me. And, as a funnel, but whatever. He's a sorry. This really hurt my feelings when I was younger. Now I don't care. I've gotten a little older, but when I was younger, I was very hurt by this. I think I I really cried the first time he made a video about me. I was so hurt. I wasn't strong enough for the internet.